Hello everyone. Welcome back to another exciting video. And in this video we are going to talk about the Flutter Learning Roadmap. So in this video, I'll basically talk about what you have to learn, when you have to learn, all the projects that you might do, and a couple of extra perks, which obviously aren't directly connected to Flutter, but you should know them. And it's very important because I kind of believe that finding the right questions is necessary, as the internet is obviously filled with many right answers. In this video we'll talk about the right questions to know before you learn Flutter. And not everything you should know in Flutter to be a developer. Like a paid developer, for the first thing that you should know is the programming language behind Flutter, which everybody thought isn't of much use back in those days. So just to start with the basics, and it's something that I want to say right here, that if you are a new developer, let's say you're new to programming, you don't know any other programming language, then don't just get started with Dart because it's going to be tough. So first learn Python, JavaScript, C++, Java, or whatever is in your syllabus. Or if you are not coming from any coding background or college, then Python or Java. Then try to learn Dart. And in Dart, learn the basics. That's completely okay. And spend some time on arrays, maps, classes. Play on the online.compiler. Follow a couple of questions, learn about string interpolation in the asynchronous programming part. Then move towards Flutter's installation and create the first step. There you can see what the basic structure. What are the file structure that you're getting? PubSpecs, YAML and all the library. Test the Android directory structure, iOS directory structure. And yes, don't go too deeper into this because then you'll be confused. And if you're an existing Android developer or iOS developer, you might get a lot of it. But if you're not, even then, just don't worry. Just know what is app. What are the basic, like what is the manifest file, the build file. And if you want, you can skip that to just know that the main Dart file that contains in the library, the lib folder. That's where you have to write your code. And I won't ask you to go into theoretical part right now, like understanding the Flutter under the hood thing, because right now, if you do that, you're going to be a lot more confused. So first just get started with the installation and understand the basic structure. Once you have done that, learn about widgets. And here, just learn the basics, like placing text, widget, placing a button. And when I say placing, exactly mean placing tabs. Don't just worry about how to make these buttons work, how to make the app bar work. Just see, what are the text? What are the styling options that you're going to give? What is a button? What are the different buttons that we get? What is an app bar? What are the different options in the app bar, and create some UI for the button navigation? Understand about assets and font, how you can customize the font, how you can add your own images and all. Once you are done with that, once you know the basics of widgets, the next thing is to actually understand stateless and stateful widgets. Obviously a very important thing. Now this is where the things get interesting. So when you will install Flutter, the first app that Flutter gives you by default is obviously that counter app. So obviously we'll erase that and I will move forward. But now is the time to exactly understand what are the difference between stateless and stateful widgets, and how you can update an app's state when an app is running. A very simple thing is that, let's say the user logs in and now you have a username, so you can just update the username in place of your text widget placeholder. So understand a bit about a stateless and stateful widget. Again, don't go too deeper into state management right now because you will get confused a lot. Just learn the basics of a stateful widget, like making a button work and all. Next, once you are done with that, learn about navigation. Learn about what a navigator is in. What are the routes? What are the material page route, push, pop, push and remove things. Understand how to use these code into bottom navigation into a drawer, and try to create a multi-page application. An app that has multiple pages, let's say multiple authentication pages, a main screen, and all. Once you're done with that, once you know the navigation and all the basics, obviously, as of now, you won't be able to create any amazing application, right? But that's completely okay. Now is the part to get excited about Flutter, to know that now you are going to make money out of it. Now you're going to create application that will be used by real people. For that, first, learn a little bit of theory. Understand what Flutter actually is. What is inside Flutter? Why Dart has been chosen for Flutter? What the Kia engine, the graphic engine that is chosen for Dart. How is the performance of Dart in comparison to React Native, Kotlin, Java, and then obviously see all the apps that are built in Flutter as of now. What is the app size? How users are responding to that? Once you're done with that, do you obviously know a lot of theory? Do you'll be able to speak to someone why you are choosing Flutter, why you're not choosing Kotlin and all. Once you're done with that, now is the time to understand some real things, like understand about layouts, dynamic builders, scrolling padding, margin, divider and size box. Obviously this is not something that you have to learn right now, but right now you will be able to understand the differences between them. Containers, card, and the most important one, which I have placed in uppercase letter. Third-party plugins. I think as of now, you might not need any third-party plugin, but one thing that makes Flutter very interesting, that's the third-party plugins. So just go to pub.dev and you will see that there are numerous third-party plugins that will make your UI part as well as coding part a lot easier. And the best part is their installation is pretty easy. All that you have to do is to grab the plugin, name their version, place it into pubspec YAML, and just save it and do a pub-get. And you will get that plugin. You can simply use it. So explore as many third-party plugins for UI as you can. Once you're done with that, now it's time to use local persistent storage. And here I have placed multiple options. You don't have to learn all of them, but obviously it won't take much time. You can learn share preferences, Hive, that's no SQL database SQFlite. That's an SQL database. And then JSON. Now when I say JSON, what I mean is local JSON. And when I say JSON or localization, obviously I actually want you to learn JSON parsing, because if you're going to use Apis and all, you're going to work with a lot of JSON data. And here you can learn share preferences and Hive or SQLite. And JSON is obviously necessary. Once you're done with local persistent storage, I will ask you to create some application. That's why I have left a link in the description that contains a couple of applications that you should create while learning Flutter. And when you have to create that, obviously that's also very necessary so that you can understand your progress. You can do a cross-check of your progress by yourself. And once you have done with that, now is the time to understand state management. And this is the topic where most people get confused. They think it's something very gigantic and all. But you see, set state is also a way of managing state. But the problem is set state can't do much right. You can do something if your app has a couple of screens or if your app doesn't have a lot of state to manage. But you can't use set state for an entire application. Actually, you can, but it will be very messy. That's why Flutter gives you multiple other options and not just Flutter. Third-party plugins give you that you have inherited widgets, you have providers, you have Redux, you have block pattern, and I obviously want to ask you to learn all of them. But try to understand a bit about set state, a bit about providers, a bit about Redux, a bit about block, and then choose which one you want to use or which one your apps should have. There are pros and cons. You can even search and Google Flutter state management pros and cons. You will get a lot of articles, read that and understand what are the pros and cons of state management. And this thing will actually make more sense right now, because ideally as of now, if you are creating any application, it will have a couple of screen set. State can handle that. But if you're creating an app that has many screens and you want to persist the app state between the screen, then you have to use any one or two of them. So just do that right now. And because this is the most important part for your app's UI. Once you're done with that, now is the time to go to back. Obviously we have talked about local persistent data, Firebase into your server. This is Google service. But the reason why I'm talking about Firebase is implementing Firebase with Flutter is very easy, and it's been made in such a way that if you're creating an app in Flutter, you will always try and love to use Firebase. So just learn how to set up it. How is the Cloud Firestore database? What the Stream Authentication's real-time database? And also try to use file image upload there and try to create one or two application using Firebase. The next thing is to learn HTTP request. Now here you might not have any valid HTTP URL to make requests. So just go to any website that gives you free API, JSON placeholder and all. And then try to understand what is an HTTP handling internet handling post data, and for multi-part file or image upload, you obviously need to code your own API, but try to find something that's available. And if it is, try to do that to try to download some file from the internet. Then there is this third-party plugin Dio. HTTP2 is third-party plugin, but Dio is a little better than HTTP in some areas. So obviously if you want to get better, you will have to choose that too. Once you're done with a HTTP request, I think that you're almost done. I mean, see, we are talking about app development, right? So by this now, you know, app development, so people can come and tell you that, hey, I want you to create this application now. That app may have some specific requirements and you may have to learn according to that. That's why I have a couple of extra perks now. What they are? Let's see, the first thing is GitHub now. The reason why I have added GitHub right here is because I assume this is for people who are very new to development. So if they don't know, let me tell you, GitHub is very important if you want to do some development. The reason why it is so is because most of the time you may have to do code saving and all. If you don't know how to push your code to GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket or anywhere, it's going to be a little bit of issue. So just learn GitHub because this is really important. Once you're done with GitHub. Again, this is my profile. If you want, you can follow me. Anyway, now is the time to become a pro in UI. So try to recreate apps that already exist. And the reason why I'm asking you to recreate an application is because when you try to code your own application, let's say you are stuck in using a dialog box. So what we do is that we try to skip that part. And let's say I can't change the background color of my bottom navigation. But due to some issues, I don't know how to do that. Now since I'm creating my own application, I might just settle with the existing color. But let's say I'm asking you to create a UI clone of YouTube. Now in that time you have to change that. Do you have to do that? It will force you to learn new things. So always try to recreate one existing application that will be better. Learn more about animations. Again, that will make you pro in UI. Go to Dribbble, grab some apps UI. Do you guys create them, and also try to create custom widgets. Instead of just using the default dialog, try to see how you can customize that as much as you can to make it more beautiful once you have done that. And obviously this is not going to stop. So if you are thinking that I will just learn these couple of things and I will be a developer, that's not going to be so. I mean, you will be a developer, but I won't be able to say that here. I know everything. Once you're done with UI, you try to learn a little bit about native component. Like a permissions local storage. Bluetooth Wi-Fi is so everything that's up mobile is specific, that's in the hardware. So try to learn a little bit about that. Obviously don't get too deeper because again, these things are very project specific. So not always. Your project will ask you to use Bluetooth and all. And if it does, then you can learn it then, because as of now, with the entire process that you have gone through, you will know how to learn things once you're done with learning native components, and these things you can do for your own fun applications. Right. So if you want to learn Bluetooth, try to create a fun application where you can implement Bluetooth. Then understand a bit about REST APIs or Graph APIs. Basically, APIs. The reason why I'm telling you this is because most of the time people ask me that, hey, I want to create an application, but my website is in PHP. Now, how do I do that? So all that you have to do, and the first thing, creating APIs is not the task of an app developer. It should be done by a web developer. But in an ideal world, obviously, you can just ask people to give you a web developer will create APIs in the real world most of the time. If this project is, let's say if it's a small project, people gonna ask you to create APIs. And also, it's necessary to know a bit about APIs so that you can implement that in your application. So if you want, you can learn any other web programming language, Node.js, Django, PHP. Although if you don't want, just don't learn, that's completely up to you. But I still recommend you to learn a little bit about API development, how to consume APIs, how servers work, and all. And then only you'll be able to add any custom website that already exists into your own application, and you'll be good to go. So once you're done with that, all that you have to do is to handle errors. Write code, handle errors, and you will have a great development story to say. So that's pretty much it from me in this video. Well, anyway, I'll catch you up soon in the next video talking more about Flutter, coding, programming, and whatnot. Till then. Keep coding. Keep loving.